The next day, I pulled up our old family records. Bank statements. Phone bills. It took some digging, but I found something strange. 2 weeks before Ellie vanished, there was a large cash withdrawal from my dad's account. $5,000. And then 2 days before she disappeared, he rented a motel room 2 towns over, alone. Why? What was he doing? My chest tightened. Was it guilt? Or something worse? I didn't want to believe it. But the more I looked, the more the cracks showed. A few days later, I confronted Mom. I drove to her apartment with clammy hands and a pounding heart. She hadn't seen Ellie yet. Didn't even know she was alive. We'd agreed to wait until Ellie was ready. But I needed answers. She opened the door, tired and small in her fuzzy robe. When she saw me, she smiled faintly. "You look pale, Lena. Are you eating? I need to talk to you," I said. She frowned. "What's wrong?" I sat her down, told her everything. From the court, to the DNA, to Ellie's memories. Her face drained of color. She gripped the couch like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "My baby," she whispered. Tears streamed down her face. "She's alive?" I nodded. "But there's something else," I said. I showed her the statements. The motel receipt. The withdrawal. I asked the question I was scared to ask. Did Dad have anything to do with it? She didn't speak. For a long, awful moment, she just stared at the floor. And then she said, barely audible, "I think he did." Her voice cracked. "I never told anyone. I didn't want to believe it. But that week he was different. He said strange things. About money. About starting over. And then, the day she vanished, he came home late, sweaty, smelled like gas station soap. I asked him where he was. He said, out. That was it. And then, the next day, he left." She sobbed into her hands. I thought maybe the guilt was too much. But I never imagined that he sold her. I sat frozen, numb. My father. My own father. Could he really have done that? Could he have handed over his child like a bag of groceries? I didn't tell Ellie right away. How could I? How do you tell someone that the man who helped bring them into the world might have been the one who took them out of it? But secrets fester. And Ellie wasn't stupid. She knew something was wrong. That night, as we sat on the balcony, sipping hot chocolate, she turned to me and said, "It was him, wasn't it?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Her eyes filled with tears. I always had this feeling. Like I was waiting for someone to come get me. Not a stranger. But someone who never showed. She wiped her eyes. I used to dream about a man. Standing at the end of my bed. Not scary. Just watching. Silent. Waiting. She turned to me. "It was him, wasn't it?" I nodded, slowly. And we sat there, under a sky full of stars. Mourning a man who had betrayed us both. A week passed. Ellie barely spoke. She moved through the apartment like a ghost. Eating quietly, drawing in her notebook, avoiding mirrors. I tried to give her space. But watching her like that broke something in me. She was alive. Here. With me. But in some ways, I was losing her all over again. One night, I found her packing a bag. Just a few things: clothes, her sketchbook, a little cash. I stood in the doorway. "Leaving?" I asked, softly. She didn't look up. "I need air." I stepped forward. "You can have air here." She shook her head. "It's not you. It's just too much. Everywhere I look, I see memories I don't have. People I should know. Love the first should feel." She finally looked at me, eyes glassy. "I don't know who I am, Lena. I don't even know what to be mad at. I can't hate a man I don't remember. I can't forgive a life I didn't live. I didn't stop her. I just said, come back when you're ready. And she nodded. Then she left. The apartment was too quiet without her. I kept the door unlocked. Her room untouched. Every night, I made enough dinner for two. And every morning, I left her a message. Just one sentence. I miss you. Remember the fireflies? Still your sister. Always. No replies. But I didn't stop. 2 weeks passed. Then one night, just as I was dozing on the couch, the door creaked open. I sat up and there she was. Hair damp from rain, eyes tired. But she was home. She walked in, dropped her bag, and collapsed into my arms. We didn't speak, just held each other like we were trying to glue our hearts back together. And in a way we were. After that visit, something in Ellie shifted. It wasn't like the pain vanished. But it had shape now. A face. A name. A history that wasn't just shadows in her dreams. She moved into her own apartment. Just 20 minutes away. Close enough to visit. Far enough to breathe. We had dinner every Thursday. Sometimes tacos. Sometimes ramen. Always laughter. She told me about the kids at the shelter. How one girl reminded her of herself. How another tried to steal her necklace. I let her, she grinned. She needs it more. One night, I asked her, do you ever think about who you could have been? She looked at me. Sometimes. But I think more about who I want to be now. And I smiled. Because that was the Ellie I remembered. Not just from our childhood. But from my dreams. From the emptiness that finally had a name again. We went back to Mom's together that Thanksgiving. The three of us sat around a too small table. With too much food, and not enough napkins. But there were candles, and warmth, and laughter. And for the first time in 2 decades, we were whole. A few months later, Ellie changed her name legally. Not back to Ellie Brennan. She chose something new, Lena Brennan Maddox. A blend of who she was. And who she had become. I want to carry both, she said. Not just the girl I lost but the woman I survived to be. Time passed. And with it, the rawness faded. Not gone, never fully gone. But softened at the edges. We stopped whispering about the past. Started dreaming about the future. Trips. Careers. Love. Family. Things we never thought we'd get to talk about again. Sometimes, I still wake up in the middle of the night, reach out to the empty side of the bed, expecting to find her gone. But she's not. She never will be. Because now, even if the world tried again, I'd fight to the ends of the earth to hold on to her. One day, she handed me a drawing. It was of 2 little girls, sitting under a tree. But this time, they weren't alone. There were roots beneath them. Deep, tangled, and strong. At the top, it said, "We were never broken. We were just waiting to be found." I cried for a long time that night. But not because I was sad. Because for the first time in my life, I was whole.